This is Stockholm, also known as Silicon Valhalla. It's freezing, I haven't seen the sun in 2 months, and it produces more unicorns per capita than anywhere on Earth except Silicon Valley. Let me show you what it's like to work in the coldest startup capital in the world. So in the wintertime, which feels like most of the year here, it's really dark outside. You may get 1 or 2 hours of daylight, but typically when I wake up, it's pitch black, and when I'm leaving work, it's pitch black as well. It's kind of funny when I explain this to my foreign friends because I grew up with this and we're all just used to this. This is kind of like what the default of life is for us. It wasn't until I left Sweden and moved abroad that I realized this is not how people live, and people find it kind of crazy. But that's just what we do over here. On the plus side, we have some really nice summers where the sun doesn't set. So one of the nicest things about Stockholm is how walkable it is. Not only is it great walking infrastructure, the streets are really beautiful and a joy to walk down. I strategically rented this apartment because it would be a 20-minute walk to work. And in my opinion, having lived in places like Brazil and the US, where I had to drive everywhere, walking to work is such an underrated luxury. I mean, living in a place where everything's within walking distance, I get 10 to 15,000 steps easily. So you can just imagine the health benefits of that compared to, driving everywhere. Now over here, this cave, over here is like a cave that used to be a sort of an emergency room for the government, but it was actually converted into a data center in 2008. Because it's kind of buried under this mountain and it's secured by a 40 centimeter thick door, it's able to withstand a hydrogen bomb. It was actually used in 2010 by WikiLeaks to store some of their servers. Apparently there's fountains, greenhouses, simulated daylight, and a huge saltwater fish tank inside. Today is a busy day. After work, I'm gonna host an event for LangChain and talk about deep agents to over 50 engineers. More on that later. I'm a senior AI engineer at one of Sweden's first Y Combinator startups, Depict. It was founded by Oliver Edholm, a 17-year-old AI researcher who managed to raise around $18 million, and Anton Osika, the founder of Lovable, which is the fastest growing startup in history, also here in Stockholm. An interesting phenomenon about Depict is it's sort of called a founder factory. There's a lot of cases of people that worked at Depict that leave Depict and then go on to start very successful AI startups. One of them is, of course, Lovable. Another is Wora, which just got valued to $5.55 billion. And also Tandem Health, which is another AI unicorn here in Stockholm. There's something strange happening in Stockholm right now. So much VC money is pouring into AI here, and we've had a lot of unicorns made recently. People are describing it as Silicon Valhalla. I guess part of that reason is the weather. This winter has been the worst one ever. I haven't seen the sun in 2 months. It's been very gray and rainy. It looks like it's midnight for most of the day. And in general, it's just very uninspiring to do anything outside this time of year. So many people, myself included, choose to lock in until summer. There's also the fact that we've always been a very tech nation. I think back in the early 2000s, there was a government program to give every household a personal computer. And since we spend so much time inside, we've always been very into video games. We also produce some of the biggest video games like Minecraft and Battlefield. So right now I'm working on optimizing costs and latency for a RAG chatbot application in e-commerce. A typical day will be responding to customer feedback, decide what features we need to focus our time on next, and interview new AI engineer candidates, and just improving our AI solutions in general. So I work a lot with vector databases. I decide what embedding models, large language models, re-ranker models, and basically the architecture of our RAG solution in a way that reduces latency, promotes relevancy, and decreases costs. I also help manage our infrastructure using Google Cloud Platform and Kubernetes. This is a really nice office with one of the best views of Stockholm. There's also a really nice rooftop, which is closed this time of the year, but during the summer, it's amazing. And I've always liked the vibe of working in a co-working space. Like, we have our own private office, but you go outside to go to the bathroom or to go grab some tea, you will always like bump into people. And there's always activities being run by the co-working space. So there's like a running club, there's a boxing club. We go to a fitness class together and it's all free. It's paid for by the office. And it's just fun to be able to meet people from other startups as well. I'll usually stop working at 6 p.m. and then I'll probably go straight to the gym after. But sometimes I have to squeeze it in the mornings. I've been gymming for years now, so for me it's not really a problem to just fit in a workout whenever I have time and remain consistent. And this is such an underrated blessing from having done something for a long time. It just becomes easier to do that thing and fit it into a busy life. Like, I always remembered during my first years of going to the gym, it was very easy to be thrown off. And I basically had to force myself to get up super early just so I could go to the gym at the same time, because it was just hard to kind of fit it into my schedule. So the winters here get very cold, but one way to mitigate that is cold plunge. And no, I'm not talking about just getting into a bathtub you put outside in the nice Florida heat and the water just happens to be cold. I'm talking about actually taking a dip in the water in the cold. It's so refreshing. If you're hungover, it really cures that. And apparently it just boosts your immune system and makes you more resistant to feeling cold. Like I mentioned, today is special because I'm hosting an event with LangChain, and I'll be giving a presentation to 50 people about deep agents. Deep agents is the name of the agentic architecture that powers stuff like deep research, Cursor, and Claude Code. If you've used AI and see it go into that thinking mode where it plans out what to do and can take minutes to give you a very good, concise answer, that is what we're talking about tonight. I'm the LangChain ambassador for Sweden, so I get a budget from LangChain to host events here with other companies.
An orchestrated agent and then a bunch of sub-agents that the orchestrator spawns through their own will, basically. And yeah, good use cases for deep agents are, for example, financial research or medical research. We kind of need a durable assistant that can, course correct over minutes of execution rather than just seconds.
I initially thought it would take up too much of my time as I'm pretty busy working a full-time job and doing this YouTube channel. But I actually get approached a lot by companies who would like to host these events at their offices. Tonight, I got approached by someone at Microsoft who wants our next event hosted there. It's honestly super fun to share knowledge and build a community, and then networking is amazing. Also, you kind of get the pseudo-celebrity status. Not to sound like obnoxious or anything, but people will come up to me after the event, thank me, and ask me for advice as if I'm some sort of expert in AI, which I'm not. And they'll also ask me for pictures, so it's a fun experience nonetheless, and I've made some great friends from these events. So I highly recommend you check out joining an ambassador program like LangChain's or Lovables. Alright, so full day of work, going to the gym, hosting this AI event. I'm coming home and I am destroyed. I usually just have an hour or two of free time, so to speak, before going to bed. And because my job involves so much around being on a screen, I also wanted to pick up a hobby that I could do that didn't involve a screen, so I could kind of relax and stimulate my brain in a way that doesn't involve technology. So I started learning guitar. So when I was like 15, I used to produce dubstep actually, but it's a bit intense for winding down after the day. But I did fall in love with just the act of creating music, and I wanted a hobby that doesn't involve a screen. But the irony is I use Musician, which is kind of like Guitar Hero, but for learning guitar. So I'm still looking at the screen most of the time. But it certainly stimulates a different part of my brain. It's something that's very new to me. I'm kind of bad at it compared to like coding and AI, which I've done for a while now. So it's quite humbling. So yeah, that's a day of working in AI in Stockholm. Hopefully I haven't painted too grim a picture of my city. There's still so much to do in the winter, like going skiing, going ice skating. But for me and many others, this is a good time to just be able to lock in with little distractions, really go hard on your career, on what you're building, because once the Swedish summer rolls around, you're not going to want to be on your computer. And the summer kind of shuts everything down because nobody's working, everyone's just out having a blast. And I kind of like living this way, having these seasons where I can just lock in and grind. And then I have a dedicated time where I can just, wild out and enjoy life and just have fun, basically, and not worry too much about work. It works well for me. So yeah, let me know if you'd like to see more videos about life, work-life balance as an AI engineer. I'm thinking about doing a fall video a bit later, maybe when it's warmer here, because life changes quite drastically then. Also, I want to mention that this video was recorded way back in January. A lot of things have changed since then. I mean, we do get actually a little bit of sunlight right now. But most importantly, I've left that previous job and I've embarked on a new exciting adventure in AI. So stay tuned for the upcoming video about that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.